Hi, my name is Lindy Jung. Welcome to my channel. This is where I talk about writing, books, travel, and pretty much whatever else I feel like. And today is kind of a new channel thing that I've been wanting to try out, where basically I'm going to do a monthly or like semi-regular update on how my writing is going and just other little life things that come up. Nothing too serious. I do like the writing vlogs, but I feel like I don't get as much of an opportunity to just sit down and talk about what I'm thinking about because I'm just struggling to get that vlog done in the allotted amount of time. So yeah, this is going to be the place for casual discussions with you guys about what troubles I'm running into and what things I've learned and just like my accomplishments for each month. I say month, but I know already right off the bat, I'm not going to be able to do this every month, so I'll just do it whenever I like accumulate enough things to talk about, hopefully. So yeah, bear with me. Let me know if you guys enjoy this, but also you don't really have to let me know because the analytics will tell me if you guys enjoy this or not, and then, I'll adjust accordingly. I'll just lower the frequency or increase it or whatever works. It is currently June 4th, so I'm going to go ahead and review the month of May, which was kind of a baller writing month for me. I feel like it was the first time in so long that I've been able to hit my stride with my writing, both in my novel and just in general. That is one of the main reasons that I wanted to start this series and just sort of give you guys updates, because I actually have updates to give for the first time in I don't even know how long. I feel like it's no secret that I've been struggling with my current adult fantasy book, MOTHS, for a really long time, and I'm going to jump right into that. But I've sort of structured this video in a way, and we're going to talk about my accomplishments in the month of May. First accomplishment is I have a child, a son. Hi baby. Oh, he's purring. This is Monterey Jack, or Monty. He's my little cheese boy. I adopted him last month. He's about 8 weeks, almost 9 weeks old. He's the sweetest little angel. It's funny because I have been posting him on my Instagram and Twitter because, of course, I'm a new mom, so I'm going to post my baby places. And he does look like a tiny version of Kelly Ty's cat, Brambles, who is so iconic, I feel like, in like this tiny circle of authortube. So I feel like it was destiny. He is just the sweetest little boy. I worked at a vet for 3 years. Never would have considered myself a cat person, have always been a dog person, but he was abandoned or like found in a stump with his mom and his litter when it was raining really hard here in California, and rescued and fostered by a wonderful family. And now he's mine, and I'm gonna love him forever. And he's so sweet and so cute and just loves to nap and sit on my lap. He's the perfect writing cat because he doesn't like to really stomp on my keyboard. He just is content to sit there while I work, and he likes the sound of typing. So yes, that is my little boy Monty. Okay, now for the actual writing updates. I'm sorry, I just had to show you guys the cat. It's been several weeks of me not showing YouTube, specifically the cat, and it was driving me nuts. This month in May, I actually finished and submitted 2 short stories. Both of them were ideas that I had like sometime last year, and then I just ended up wrapping them up and sending them to 2 magazines. And I honestly did not edit them that thoroughly or think about them that hard, so I kind of don't think they'll be accepted by either publication. But there is one that I really like that if it doesn't get accepted, I could totally see myself cleaning it up and trying again somewhere else. But I just wanted to submit it really quickly because the magazine that I found had the perfect quarterly theme for it. So it was just a great fit, in my opinion. I'm really excited for this because it has been so long since I've been able to work on like actionable professional industry feedback on one of my pieces, and I'm just really hungering to improve my writing, which is why I've been making so many writing advice and tips videos, because I've just been in this phase where I just want to learn about craft. But honestly, I think that the best way to improve your writing in a way that works for you is really to just get it edited, and also to read your own work, review your own work, and revise, and figure out what your specific strengths and weaknesses are from there. Like, that is my number one tip, is to write a lot and edit a lot, and also get feedback from other people. The thing with that is I've had an in-progress novel that has just been small pieces, like in pieces, for so long that no one has been able to see it. I've barely been able to revise it, and I just feel like I've been stagnating for the entire time that novel has been in the progress of being drafted. So it was very refreshing to be able to actually finish some things and like send it out. For one of the stories in particular, I sent it to like my whole group chat, and it turned into like an AP English discussion forum for just a second there, and it was like one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. It was just so fun. So yeah, we'll be looking forward to hearing back from those places probably this summer. I don't really know what the timeline would be, and I don't really care. It was just a great experience because that is also my first time submitting to any sort of literary magazine, so very excited for that. Both of the stories are speculative fiction. They're both sort of a contemporary setting, so I had a lot of fun with them. They actually are also both in first person, which was not intentional, but I think I've been missing first person a lot because MOTHS is in third person, so that was definitely an interesting development. Another accomplishment I Another thing I accomplished in May was hitting 20,000 words in MOTHS. This is my dark academia adult fantasy novel that I've been working on forever at this point, like since the inception of this channel for sure. I finally hit my stride with it, as I mentioned before. I feel like I've gotten past that first act blues phase of my drafting process, which is just that it takes me forever to nail down the first act. I have a really bad problem with starting things that I can't finish, and every time I stop a project midway through, I'm still somewhere in the first act, like lost in the sauce. But once I overcome the hump of the inciting incident and really get into act 2, which I am now with MOTHS, writing just goes so much smoother for me. I'm still having a little bit of trouble here and there, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Also, the funny thing with the 20k milestone for MOTHS is that I hit it and then I unhit it because I had to cut out a huge chunk of the first part. And now I've hit it again, like I hit 20k again, like yesterday. But it was just very funny. Another thing I did in May was finishing and posting a nonfiction short essay or short piece on capuchin monkeys and conservation, which is now available to read for free on my travel blog, wherethehellamI.blog. I will link that below. It's a piece that I actually really love. I started it while I was still studying abroad in Costa Rica because that is what it's about. It just took me a really long time to finish because it's hard to think about Costa Rica because I just become filled with this unbearable yearning to be back there and in that time of my life, even though it wasn't even that long ago. So I did finally get over that and post it. If you choose to read it, I hope you enjoy it. I really enjoyed writing it, even though it was painful. It is very sappy and full of good intentions, and it does talk a lot about all of my feelings regarding conservation and nature, so be forewarned, I guess. I also started an accountability post on my main author website, which is lynndjung.wordpress.com, also linked below. And the post is really just like an aesthetic and then some brief notes about MOTHS, like the genre and word count or whatever. And then I'm going to be updating it with like short diary entries every once in a while just to let you guys know casually in between things how that book is going, because I really need to be held accountable for my writing at this stage because I really want to finish this draft. Alright, so that's all I accomplished in May. I also want to talk about my goals for June. So this summer is going to be an interesting one for me. I have been working a seasonal job for all of spring, which is coming to a natural end in a couple weeks, which means although I have been trying to pick up another job, I will be a lot more available, just like mentally, emotionally, and physically, basically from the end of June onward. However, even though I am super busy right now still, I do really want to finish this first draft of MOTHS. That's definitely my main goal, and that's why the rest of my goals are a little bit sparse. I also want to do another nonfiction short essay on my travel blog because I have a lot of travel coming up, and I want to sort of get the ball rolling on that blog. I don't ever, like, it's a personal project and I don't ever expect to become like a travel blogger, although I was at one point, oh my god. But I do want it to have like consistent updates and just be something that people can read because everyone is constantly asking me, where can I read your writing, Lynn? And it is on that blog. There's also a 24-hour writing challenge in June, starting June, I believe, 17th and ending on June 19th. So basically what people are doing is trying to write 50k words in 24 hours. So I will be participating. Absolutely will not be able to hit 50,000 words, but I'm going to be doing that if anyone wants to join me. I will link the Twitter account for this challenge in the description below in case you're interested. I think that'll be a great way to just like chunk a huge part of MOTHS, like just get a big part of the draft done, because although challenges like that are very draining to me, they are a great way for me to get a lot of words done very quickly and not think too hard and go back on myself and just revise or cut or whatever until I drive myself up the wall. So very excited to be participating in that. Those are my goals for June. Again, pretty sparse because the main one is to just get MOTHS done. Let's talk about this month's little lessons and struggles and trials and tribulations. Those three all mean the same thing. As the title of this video suggests, I have been rewriting my first chapter over and over and over again. I even had a point where I was like, okay, Act 1 is solid. That part of my Scrivener is something that I will not touch until the draft is done. And I went back a few days ago, yesterday actually, and just cut a huge swath of the first chapter because it just wasn't working for me. Obviously, it like dropped my word count, which, you know, word count isn't the be all end all of drafting progress, but it was very disheartening to like go back on a milestone. And I also just like ended up having to restructure that, and then the domino effect of the restructuring was also difficult to pick up and to clean up, and I still haven't cleaned up all of it, but I've decided that I'm going to leave that until my first round of revisions. And that is really the lesson that I am continuously learning, and that I had to learn again this month or last month. It's that I just can't do that to myself. I just can't be revising. But at the same time, I was telling my friend this because she was like, just leave it and just like keep writing. There's a compulsion in me that can't. I have to have a solid foundation, otherwise I'm just going to be obsessing over what changes I need to make. Because even if I write the notes down, I'm not going to remember they're there. Even if I write, hey, go back and fix Act 1, Chapter 3, whatever, I'm not going to remember to do that, so I like have to do it in the moment. I think this is definitely an ADHD thing, and I think it's caused me a lot of trouble, especially because my other lesson from this past month is that I think I'm a discovery writer. Wild, because I've considered myself a hard outliner for so long, but I really am so not law-abiding. I have no other words for it. Even if I make a plan, and it's a good plan, it's a great plan, I just like don't want to follow it. I have been watching specifically a lot of Shaylin Wright's videos. They talk about how discovery writing is where the details come through, and you know, how details are what make writing stand out. I think that's very true for me. I think a lot of the themes and the personality quirks and the character arcs and relationships, like all of that has developed organically for me for MOTHS. Even though I wrote down, okay, like X character hates Y character, it doesn't manifest correctly unless I take the time to explore their relationship, to try out different versions of the same scene with those two characters, and just sort of fit those two puzzle pieces together in different ways until they finally click. This is very frustrating because it is the reason that my drafting process has taken so long, but I think that knowing this for my next project, which I kind of haven't decided what that will be. For my next project, it'll be easier to just write a very bare bones outline that just hits key story beats and go from there, instead of trying to develop a full outline, taking like several months to do that, and then taking several years to write a book, which hopefully I never want to take several years to write a book again. I know I will, but it's just such a bummer to be so slow. So yeah, I guess I'm a discovery writer now. I think I definitely am still straddling the line, because another thing that I've discovered is that if I'm stuck in the plot, the best thing for me to do while drafting is to take a piece of paper and a pen, like physical items, and do a timeline or just bullet points that are like, okay, here are the beats that I need to hit in the rest of the scene or chapter, and then I can go from there. So it's almost like I need to come up with the outline as I'm going. All that's to say, it's been a very humbling month, but I'm super glad that I am able to work on this project. This was also the month where I realized that I really love this book. Like, it is very personal to me, and there are moments where I hit scenes where I can just write them in a couple minutes because they've just been living in the back of my mind for so long, and these characters are starting to come alive for me. I really love them. I love the story, even though it's a mess, and sometimes I'm like, this mystery is not hitting the way it should be, which is a problem for future me, honestly. But I am so excited to be done with this draft and to put it through a first round of revisions and then get it out to readers, because I really hope that people like this as much as I do. I haven't felt this way about a project since my very first book that died on sub, which was young adult contemporary fantasy that I worked on for literally over a decade, like more than half my life. And then, of course, it flopped, so now no one will ever see it. That book was super important to me. The characters were my, like, childhood OCs, basically, and all my friends and I would just have discussions about them and draw them and constantly just talk about the story when we were growing up. Or at least I would make them, I don't know. I don't know if it was voluntary on their part, but it was my, like, obsession as a kid, and I haven't quite reached that point with these characters in this story, but it does feel a little bit like that once more, which is really, really nice, because I feel like it's so hard to write a book and to work on it again and again and again if the only reason you're writing it is because you think the idea is marketable or the tropes are marketable, which is how I wrote Tiger, which I called my sellout book and yet didn't get me any money. Yeah, I wrote my young adult cultural fantasy because that's what you're supposed to do if you're BIPOC and a writer and writing young adult fantasy, and I just, like, didn't enjoy it as much. Like, it was still fun. I don't know, it just wasn't as, like, spiritual of an experience. This book, for me, MOTHS, is a spiritual experience. Like, it is absolutely showing me things about myself I didn't know and helping me grow in new ways, both as an artist and as a person. And I think it is so fitting that it's about alchemy, because I've been reading up on alchemy, of course, for the past couple years. And a huge aspect of it is this idea that you're undergoing a transformation of the soul. So that's a big theme, not to give it away. And it's so interesting to me that I've been able to sort of live that and embody that. And I have gone through a lot of stuff in the past couple years personally, and it has been transformative. And as time has gone on, as I've changed and as the story and the characters have changed, they've only become more relevant to me and more relatable to me, even though they are all objectively kind of horrible, shitty people. And the main character especially is like difficult to write specifically because she is so mean and ambitious and cold and cunning, and I'm just like not really like that at all, I hope. But even so, it's still, you know, there's still that familiarity, there's still that little bit of kinship between our souls. And I think that is what I've talked about this before, but one of the big things that bothers me about like the discourse surrounding self-insert characters, like, yeah, your character should be a reflection of yourself. What the fuck else are you gonna write about? That was a long rant about pretty much nothing. Feel free to share your thoughts below about anything I've talked about or your own updates for this month. I really want to hear what you guys are up to. I feel like another big theme for me recently has been community in writing. It's just been so important to me to be able to connect with other writers and talk through our struggles. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see more in this style, which I probably will do because I had more to talk about than I thought. I will see you guys next time.